when we were in the water, there was all these people around, and Freddie would just look at me, dead serious, throw the paddle, and just flip over. And I was just cracking up.
The most embarrassing clip that I've ever filmed. We sat out at Huntington Beach on the water, had an entire audience, as I took 2 different kayaks out onto the water and completely flipped off of the kayak into the water, made a fool of myself, climbed back on, flipped back off, climbed back on, flipped back off, pumped out water, did all this stuff in front of all these people, and we had a whole crowd of people looking at us like we were crazy. But we did it for you. Today, we're gonna go through some kayak safety tips about what to do out on the water in case of an emergency, and also what you should and shouldn't take with you. We're also gonna touch on the 2 very popular kinds of kayaks and which ones I feel are better and safer in the water, and more for the rookies towards the experts range of the spectrum, whichever you are. We know someone, I won't name any names, that had an incident recently, and I feel like it was necessary to go over this stuff so you guys have a tool to give you some knowledge before you get out on the water and paddle away. So we'll start with 2 types of kayaks, and shortly we'll get to which one I prefer now, because I've learned a lot about this situation. So there is one called a recreational kayak. That is this is a Pelican. They're both Pelicans, but this one, as you can see, has a small cockpit for you to put your feet in. This is good for recreation because you can put things in here with you. You don't get as wet as your paddles splash the water. Sometimes you can even fit a small child in here with you to take along on the ride. Where, as with the other one, which is called a sit-on-top kayak, you actually sit on top. There is no cockpit, you sit on the top. The main 2 differences that I found with these kayaks is, one, you actually have a cockpit well that acts as a reservoir. So if you intake water, it's going to sit inside of the kayak. Now on the sit on top kayak, you'll see there's really no place for the water to well in. It has these holes, and as water gets inside of the cab, it drains down into these holes back into the water. So you're less likely to take on water and keep it. It should drain out. 2 important things. Both kayaks have a drain that's used for cleaning out water that's on the inside. They are back here. They come with black plugs. A lot of times we lose these black plugs, so what I can use in place of it, if you don't have a black plug, is duct tape. That's what I put over it. If these plugs are open, as your kayak drags its tail in the water, even when you're launching, it will collect water inside of here. So this will go directly into the cockpit, and over here on this one, on the sit on top, it will go inside of the plastic framework of the kayak itself. So make sure you have those plugged up before you leave. Now, so in today's video, what you're going to see is I am going to make a simulation where I fall into the water and how to get back on your kayak once you fall inside the water.
Alright.
So the first thing that you're going to need, aside from a kayak to go kayaking, is a paddle. One thing I didn't know until recently is these paddles are designed to float. So if they fall in the water, they will float. A lot of people use tie-ons, and I think it's for the reason of keeping it with the boat or the kayak or the canoe. So a lot of times they have these strings, you can tie them onto here. They won't float away, but they will float. So now a couple other things is, if you're out in open water, let's say you're out on the lake or even in the ocean, and you fall off or you have an emergency, you want to keep your phone. This is going to get you help. This is your best chance to get you help. Now there's waterproof bags, but there's also waterproof bags that float. This one here was about $25 at Cabela's, and it has foam inside of it, so if it falls in the water, it will float. In an emergency, you're gonna need this. Now second, a couple of things that I thought of in an emergency situation that you might need is one, a reel of rope. Well, why? Because if you really care about your kayak and you don't want to lose it, sometimes these things will get expensive. You might want to have a rope so that you can swim openly and hang on to the rope with the kayak while you get to shore. It's really hard to swim and try to drag a kayak that is full of water that's completely submerged. So if you kept it on a rope, you got a chance of getting it back to shore. Second, something that you will need for this recreational type of kayak is you're going to need a way to get the water out of the cockpit once you have submerged it. And this is called a bilge pump. So what you're going to do is you're going to stick this pump into the water, and you're going to use the pump by the lever, and it will spray all the water out. In the video, I'll demonstrate how you use this actually in the water. Also, the next thing you're going to need is a life jacket. So there's a lot of people that don't like to wear life jackets. It's actually required by law for you to have one on the vessel, and people don't tend to use them. If I'm going out in the open water and I don't know the depths of the open water, I will always wear my safety jacket, my life jacket. So the reason being is that yes, you can swim, but in an emergency situation, you're going to get really fatigued. You're going to be tired of swimming and kicking and staying afloat and trying to get your paddle and get the boat and get control of things and find your phone. There's going to be a lot of things going on. If you have a life jacket on, you don't have to make yourself float. This will help you float so you can concentrate on the other emergencies that are going on inside the water. So you're minding your business, enjoying nature. You go to shake a dolphin's hand, boom, you're off the kayak. First thing you do is you get control of your kayak. Flip it back over, make sure your paddle doesn't escape, put it on the kayak. Now take a moment to gather yourself. If you have a phone or a bag floating around, grab it, toss it onto the kayak. Now to get back on. You're going to go back to the stern of the kayak, reach your arms across, and now you're going to balance yourself. Get your torso up on it until it balances, and once it's balanced, take a second and now make your move. You're going to straddle the back of the stern. You're almost there. Now you're going to slide yourself forward over the seat of the kayak and get back in the cockpit, and you're good to go. And it's that simple with this type of kayak, to sit on top, and that's why I prefer this one over the recreational kayak. And there you are, you're back in business, ready to go shake another dolphin's hand. Now this situation is a little bit more complex, and you'll see why. So now you've fallen off. You've got some water in your boat from falling off. So you attempt to straddle the stern. Uh-oh. Look at how low that kayak is in the water. It's taking on a lot of water, and there she goes. We have sunk it. Now you've got a problem. You need to lift the kayak out of the water as much as possible to get as much water out as you can before you flip it back upright. Now is when you use that pump. That bilge pump, you have to get almost the entire cockpit empty before you decide to go back on the boat. If you get back on the boat while there's still water in the cockpit, you're just going to go back down in the water and you're back to square one. Now I've cleared enough. Let's try this again. Get back on the stern of the boat. Balance. Turn, straddle. This is not pretty, but I'm doing it. Get over the cockpit. I didn't say this was going to be easy. And you're seated back in. Now that you're seated back in, go ahead and pull the bilge pump out and get the rest of that water out of the cockpit. And now we're off to go shake some more dolphins' hands.
I really love this open top. I love that it's like adjustable for my feet. I don't feel so enclosed, and it's much more stable. So I prefer this kayak. This one sinks very easily, we found.
Of course, Carly's kayak would be to sit on top, and I'm paddling around in the danger mobile over here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and everybody stay safe out there on the water. If you have any questions or concerns, or even suggestions that I might add to a later film, go ahead and comment in the bottom. And remember to hit the notification button to see all of our new videos as they're released. Thank you.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Numinous.